Okay, I would welcome everyone for today's session. Uh, I think Juliet and other will also join us very soon. So we have our first presentation from Rehan. So Rehan, please share your screen and just teach us what you have to tell us.
Mustafa, thank you very much. And this is actually a long overdue presentation. In my case today, I actually thought to just touch on some recent trends that were observed that we've seen in recent months, and that there was a small article that I put together as well. So I'll just touch on some of these trends, which might be interesting for some of you all as well. So just bear with me till I share the content. Mustafa, I'm getting a message saying that only the host can share the screen.
I just fix it. You can share now.
Super. Right. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a very good evening to everyone. I'll just take a few minutes to touch on a few of these topics, and the presentation is actually captioned recent trends. The rules of play seem to be changing. So with the COVID situation and also with recent developments in the last 1 or 2 years, we've seen a lot of disruption in the marketplace. We've seen a greater shift to technology. We've seen a lot of changes in the way businesses operate. And for a lot of companies and for a lot of business leaders, there's really a new game that's shaping up. And the rules in this game is a bit different to what it used to be. So I'll just touch on some of these topics. The first one is actually on collaboration. And collaboration, see, if you take in the past, you generally see collaboration between companies which have not competed with one another. So it's very rare to see two companies in the same industry collaborating. But if you take today's context, you'll actually see a lot of companies which are in the same industry actually collaborating with one another. So one example is if you say technology companies, right? If you take the likes of Microsoft, IBM, Google's, like all the technology companies, you see some element of collaboration taking place between these companies as well. So for example, you might see office products accessible on iPads or on Apple platforms. Like, so you'll see some element of organizations having collaboration. Now, in the past, like if you go back about 10 years, 10, 15 years, when you talk about companies collaborating, you'll say two companies in the, we'll say in the wheat industry collaborating. There'll be a lot of criticism saying that this is for cartels, this is oligopolies, this is duopolies. They're basically trying to raise prices and to disadvantage the customer. But if you take collaboration today, most of the collaboration that is taking place is to offer more value to the customer, as in more value and also better prices. So this is one of the fundamental changes that are taking place in the business environment at the moment. And just to also shed light on that, if you look at how businesses look at a market, in the past, we've generally looked at, okay, we've got a 5% market share, or a 10% market share, 15% market share. But today, a lot of focus is on the absolute value of the market. So if you take the consulting industry, for example, in the GCC, it's about $3.3 billion. So the real focus these days is on the overall number of the industry, the size of the industry, and whether the industry is growing or shrinking. Because when the industry grows, automatically the revenue share or the share attributable to the businesses also grows, and there's a bigger market opportunity for different organizations to pursue. So that's the first one on collaboration. If there are any questions on that, I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, Rehan, when you say collaboration, I think maybe it is feasible for companies like technology companies, but still, I think companies like in production, I don't see any collaboration until now. If you have any example, for example, a company is manufacturing, let's say, industrial equipment, a company is manufacturing, let's say, cars. I don't see much collaboration, especially for those companies.
Right. So good question, Mustafa. Now, one area that I'm aware of, I can't remember the exact two companies, but I remember in the autonomous vehicle space, I think Toyota was collaborating with one of the other organizations to introduce autonomous technology. And there are some other examples like that. If you take the present context, the apparel sector has been badly affected. Some factories have closed down and things like that. So you get generally apparel companies working together to share capacity, to meet orders where possible, to fill gaps and things like that. So there is an element of collaboration, but of course, like you said, the tech companies are far ahead. And then just as an example, one of the tech companies has a separate unit to service the platforms of another tech company. So they actually have a team which is driving a business line to service the platforms of another company in the same industry. So this is something we are seeing, like in the space of IBM's SAP. You're seeing really a lot of that. And even if you take the like in the accounting stream, you see a lot of big four firms working with alliance partners in technology firms like the likes of Microsoft, Google, different technology companies. So.
Hi, guys. Can you hear me? Mustafa, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good.
Yeah, hi.
So I think, I can cite one or two examples here. For instance, we come from the home appliances, manufacturing and brand background. And in our industry, most of the IoT that is developing now, it is now they're collaborating with platforms like Alexa. They're collaborating with all types of voice activated platforms, and they're building IoT to interface at the consumer point with a lot of technology that we have no control over, because these technologies are already established and used by consumers at home. Another example I have is we have one of the most advanced robotics company called KUKA, which is a German robotics corporation, and this was acquired by Media Group about 4 years back. And this is really bringing robotics into a lot of industrial spaces. So obviously the robots are used in manufacturing, and so it's a kind of a collaborated model, even if some level of a high degree of automation is happening. And then even industrial internet, right? So we have Internet 4.0, which is now getting utilized across the manufacturing lines, and there's a lot of interface. So not necessarily from within the organization. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. But the expertise is really from outside. But I think the first example will be very, very appropriate. At the same time, I think Google is now considered as somebody who can go as far as building autonomous vehicles, softwares, and they say maybe that's going to be the big protagonist of autonomous cars in future, while hardware stays hardware, like the discussion we had a few days back with our Professor Munir, right? So that kind of a platform economy is really building collaboration. It is taking collaboration to the hilt. So I think finally a lot of industries will face such interactivity, that kind of so that's the direction. I think this is where we are going.
But Subrat, what you are saying is what my interpretation is. Basically, there are two companies. One is having strength in one area, and other is having strength in another area. They are collaborating. So to make one more, usable product. My only concern and my only point is, if I am making my product that is good enough for the end user to use. So do these kind of companies who are making the products by in-house, and those products are very much usable, are they calibrating with the same products that other companies are manufacturing, with the same specs, with the same kind of functionality, or it is entirely two different things that we are collaborating into one product to make it more usable?
Yes. So you're saying, yeah. So this is another. I can't remember any example from our industry, but what I can think about at a very primitive level is, let's say, if, so sometimes we do collaborate with similar industry within the sector in non-cannibalizing scenarios. But yeah, I'll think about some examples if I can give you a very crisp one, So that's. But yes, we are. In fact, the entire business model we have created here inside in our very new formed company in Dubai is a collaborated business model which has downstream and upstream collaboration from different at one end manufacturers, on the other end with partners. Yes, so I think.
Sorry, go ahead, Subir.
No, please. I think we can open the floor for anybody's comments, because these examples don't stick to you immediately. But surely there are many things that occurred to us when we were discussing internally. We had this kind of brainstorm on how the industry is opening. We were talking about. Let's say the largest hotel chain not being any hotel chain itself, it's Airbnb. So I think it's a co-constructed business model, right? I mean, where you have an app and then you use any consumer's home as your space. So yeah, so I think we can open it.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Subrat. So actually, Mustafa, just to add to that, what we are seeing actually is that collaboration is taking place more and more between more related businesses. I'll also try to find you some more examples for the group, like a few more examples. But compared to what it was maybe a decade ago, the collaboration between similar businesses is taking place more. So that's an area. In the interest of time, I'll actually just move to the others. So the second one is agility, right? Agility is basically how soon you can scale up, scale down, and adjust to market conditions. So in the past, really, the game was about having volume, having capacity, being able to produce at a lower cost and to deliver a greater like a proposition to the customer. But currently, especially with COVID, what we noticed is that it's really about how fast a business can adapt its scale to the market conditions. So if you take, like, very unfortunately, for example, in the airline industry, there was substantial scale built up, but due to the nature of the industry, this scale became a significant disadvantage at this point. Same goes for hotels. And then if you take, if you again look into agility, telecom companies, for example, they had the opposite effect. Their demand increased exponentially. So when the demand increased exponentially, how fast can they scale up to meet this demand? So agility is really something that has taken more priority in the current context, and that's probably an area which will go forward as well. The next, I'll take these two topics together, and then maybe we can have a smart discussion on that. The next is co-creation. So co-creation is really, in the past, it was about identifying what customers want, basically market sensing, seeing what customers are interested in, what they are willing to pay for, how much of a quantity they are willing to buy, and so forth. But really now the focus is on co-creation, where you really have the customer also inside your product development team. And the customer is an active component or active participant of the product development process. So thereby, through real-time feedback, real-time involvement, real-time engagement, they assume that the market viability and the success rates of products will be much higher than what it used to be in the past. So those are two more trends that we've seen in recent times. If there's anything to add on that.
I think please move on. We will. I
Yes.
think we will take some question at the end of your.
Yes, thanks, Mustafa. So the fourth area is called is acquisitions, right? Again, in the past, a lot of businesses were about building businesses over time. So especially if you look at family businesses and all, it goes into 2-3 generations, where these businesses were built over a long period of time, started as small businesses, then scaled up, hired the right talent, grew operations, adjusted structures, and so forth. But nowadays, we are seeing a lot more acquisitions. We are seeing a lot more companies saying that we really don't have the time to build businesses per se, that it's more lucrative and it's much faster to buy a tried and tested company so that they can expand the scale or tap into new markets which they have not done previously. So acquisitions is also something that in the last 2 decades and especially in the last decade, going into recent years, has really taken off in a big way as part of a strategic element of an organization. The next one is leveraging. So leveraging is, again, instead of owning assets or instead of buying and investing in assets, leveraging means you rely on some other specialized service provider to provide these services or assets that are needed. So as examples, if we take data storage, in the past, a lot of companies ran their own in-house servers and their server rooms and all that. But now a lot of companies engage with cloud service providers to maintain and to run their data, or basically to store their data. So there is leveraging. So they're not really looking at running their own servers or maintaining their own systems. They're leveraging from specialized service providers. Same goes for building premises. So instead of really investing and building your own buildings, you really look at co-working spaces or different models where you can leverage space that has been invested by other companies. And then the next is value. So value in the past is when you try to add value, you generally perceive that there is a cost element, that the more value you add, the higher the price, because the cost of adding value comes in. But if you look at today with technology, it is possible to reduce cost and increase value at the same time. And the best example for this is a search engine. Like if you take a search engine, there are lots of features today. Like you can, there's language translation, there's different types of searches, news, filtering, and all that. But the cost to an individual user is almost insignificant or nothing. And then that too is financed through advertising and other mechanisms. So the search engine is giving tremendous value, but they're giving this at a very, very low cost point. So that's another trend that has emerged. Then the last two is, one is innovation. So if you look at innovation, innovation is really about looking at new possibilities and generally approaching with a fresh canvas. So in the past, we would say that, okay, we are manufacturing X product or A product, and then we are trying to improve this product over a period of time. So then we start with that product and we look at what differences we can make to that product. But there's this famous saying that the light bulb was not invented by improving the candle. So if we look at that saying, what they're saying is you really need to approach innovation with completely open thinking, completely fresh thinking, and we should not confine our thinking to a particular area. So innovation, and another example, there, traditional example is the film roll industry. So if they were looking at, we'll make 30 shots into 60 shots into 100 shots and so forth. But instead of that, maybe you think we don't need a film roll in the first place. Maybe we can have a memory card which can directly give us 1,000 shots in one memory card. So that is really where innovation comes in, and that could be one of the areas where organizations are focusing. And last is on competencies. So in the past, a lot of companies invested in skill sets. So skill sets are very specialized skills. But again, with this recent COVID pandemic and recent times, what we see is it's better to have competencies. So competencies are much broader and they're much more flexible. So for example, a factory which manufactures normal apparel was suddenly able to switch to manufacturing face masks or producing gloves or whatever other PPE. So that's where really competencies come in. The more competencies are there rather than specialized skill sets, the more adaptable the business to change. So these are just some of the areas I thought would be useful to highlight. Happy to have a quick discussion before handing over, if time permits.
Sure. I just have only one question about acquisition. If anyone from our group having experience when it comes to acquisition.
You mean experience in actually conducting an acquisition, or
Yes,
just
yes,
okay.
actually conducting the acquisition.
Yeah. Maybe somebody from the finance side would have that kind of a very specific.
Anyhow, I'll put this question in the group and
I
we'll
think.
see.
Yeah,
Yes,
Mustafa, I can probably answer that from a service provider perspective, because the firm I work for, we advise and we assist in a lot of M&A, mergers and acquisitions. So there is a lot of like from a service provider point of view, there are things like due diligences which are done, valuations, helping to identify targets and so forth. But if you look at for the businesses, it's really about the proposition. What is the opportunity that is there through an acquisition, and also the cultural fit, the integration part. So it is really identifying your strategy, where you want to go, whether there are potential businesses that fit within your strategy and where you want to go, and then also looking at whether you can successfully integrate into to a combined entity, or for one entity to acquire the other.
That's great. Actually, this is my concern. For example, I'm running a business that is manufacturing of industrial equipment, and I have similar business near to us. Uh, they are trying to sell, and I want to maybe they can add really value to our business. So I just wanted to know if someone is having a good experience when it comes to acquisition. What are the parameters? What things need to be considered? How it should take place, the acquisition. So if anyone from the group, definitely I'll share this question in the WhatsApp group. If anyone has an experience, so maybe we can request him to kind of have a one session purely explaining the basics and the uh, details of acquisition. If you want to have an acquisition, what are the key points that you need to consider?
So
That'd be fabulous to hear.
I can add a little bit. I can give you two different dimensions in this. One example is from my own companies in India. In 2010, I was in Europe. I was heading some businesses for a European company, and then I joined my father's business. So what our strategy was, in 5 years we wanted to divest our business. So it is not a strategy of acquisition, but it is a strategy of divestment, right? So we actually divested our business. We gave away almost 70% of stakes in both our factories in India, which are into food manufacturing, right? They're into food products in the past, maybe now 50 years. And so on the other side, on the seller side, right, I had a certain type of strategy, which is obviously to build the overall equity or net worth of the organization, whether from a financial standpoint or from a distribution standpoint, or from the type of customer base we carry, and then to identify the right partners and pitch the overall net worth or the overall value of the organization. So we built various retail footprint into Walmart, Reliance in India, and also various others like Metro Cash and Carry and Big Bazaar. We launched quite a few products. So we actually geared up for 2 to 3 years time, and so that the overall value of the organization on an equity level was gained tremendously, right? So when the due diligence happens, they're actually looking at your asset base. They're looking at your actual financial net worth from your obviously from your assets and liabilities, but they're also looking at what is the next let's say decade of capability in the company to sustain a certain scale and sale, if they have, or if you have any special equipment or engineering or certain technology, and that can be leveraged to be added some sort of intangible value to. So the key is when you're conducting your due diligence, at that time you would be really looking at what is the actual value you will attach to that enterprise, and also what kind of synergy can it build, because there can be hidden factors, right? Some liabilities which were not taken into account, creditors and so forth. This is personal example, right? So I don't know if it's of much value, but I've been very much involved myself, right, in doing this divestment. On the other side, I have another, at a superficial level, I have understanding from my company where I work, which is Media Group. We've acquired various businesses like the Carrier air conditioning business across the world, right? We've acquired in Brazil, in Egypt, in India. We own the Carrier business in US. I was involved in the US acquisition in 2017. I was the global head for residential air conditioners for Media Group from China. And I was involved in the HVAC collaboration between Carrier Corporation and Media, where that's the only country where we don't have a majority stake, but and I was also part of the board. But there, then you have a whole lot of companies, a whole lot of support, right, from different due diligence companies and financial companies, and we had Accenture, PwC, almost every company
Yeah.
who was involved in equity development, etc. So this kind of broad understanding for sure, or maybe a little bit in depth, for sure, I think. But I think from a CA perspective, it could be another thing, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So.
Okay. I think again, Mustafa, in venturing into acquisition, the most important question lies with you. You need to know what you want to achieve with that acquisition. Are you looking for expansion? Are you looking to balance sheet size improvement? You need to actually look at what you want to get out of the acquisition and consider that very well before delving into that. So, John, thanks.
Yeah. I think this is a whole different topic. We will talk on this topic maybe sometime. But thank you, Rehan. If anyone has any question to Rehan, please go ahead. Okay.
Thanks, Mustafa. Thanks for the opportunity, and thanks everyone for the time. So we'll pass on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rehan. So just please stop sharing your
Yeah.
screen,
Yes.
and I'll move to the next topic. And unfortunately, Juliet has some problem. She's not able to connect, and she just sent a message on WhatsApp. But I'll move to Tajudeen for his topic. So please, Tajudeen, you share your screen, and let's start.
All right, thank you. I will share my screen now.
Yeah.
All right, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. My assignment today is to share the knowledge around barriers to learning, and yes, just like Professor Mark Smith said, if you attempt to do a lot of research on some of the issues he raised, you're going to get a lot of confusion. So I will keep it simple. I've done my own personal research. And I try in as much as possible to put things in my own, the way I saw it during my research. So barriers to learning. Barrier to learning, according to one of the things I read, is anything that prevents learners from fully engaging in learning. And when learners cannot fully participate in learning activity, they cannot be truly engaged in that learning. So of course, we'll be speaking to the three main barriers to learning that he shared with us during the course of his lecture. The first one is the forgetting curve. And a German researcher, Hermann Edinburgh, was the one that invented the forgetting curve. And what he did was he put to test his retention capacity over a various period of time, and he plotted it on a graph, something that I'll be showing in a subsequent slide. And it shows, and this speaks to how information is lost over time when you don't try to retain it. And according to what Prof. Smith shared with us, which I found out in my subsequent research, that if new information is not applied in the first 6 days of learning them, you lose 75% of them. So it is important that when new information are acquired, we put them into practice, we share them with others, and of course, subsequent slide will do that. The second one is learning from experience, which deals with the cognitive approach to how our brain topic and functions around learning activity. Of course.
Tajudeen, we have problem with your voice. Can you please just ensure that your mic is at the right position?
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I don't know. I'm using the mic from my laptop anyway. So, yeah, the learning experience, like I said, is the cognitive aspect of learning, which deals with how our brains functions and how we are wired to avoid being wrong. I stumbled on a couple of videos on the internet. I will share that with us. I saw it, I think, about 2 weeks ago or last week, and it was funny to me then, but researching and reading through this topic, I just found out that it was useful, and I'm going to share that with us as well. Um, it spoke about under the learning experience, spoke about the how leaders can be so defensive in their reasoning loop, trying to avoid a situation where you do wrong, or trying to give excuses and reasons for why things go wrong. So again, learning from success is another uh, another aspect that I discuss around that, and which sometimes can lead to fundamental attribution error. That is, we trying to take credit for when things goes on well, and trying to shift blame or apportion blames to others or external factors when things go bad. Uh, the third one was learning transfer, which is simply called transfer. Yeah, so during the course of my research, stumbled on learning transfer. And learning transfer refers to the degree to which an individual applies previously learned knowledge and skills to new situations. Of course, um, this is the primary reason for formal and informal learning intervention. Of course, formal learning intervention like coursework, courses, and informal learning intervention, teaching people how to do things, maybe in a practical class, and putting them through. So, yeah, the forgetting curve, like I said, the researcher Edinburgh put his memory skill to test over various period of time, and he plotted them on a graph that simply look like this. And according to what I stated, I said the graph illustrates that when you first learn something, the information disappears as exponential rates. That is, you lose most of it in the first couple of days, after which the rate of loss tapers off. If you don't put it into practice, if you don't share it, if you don't revise it, you tend to lose what you learn, because you are not interacting with that activity. So this opportunity and this avenue that Mustafa has ingenuinely created has helped us a lot. I could imagine if after we finished the first part of our learnings, we all went and we were not interacting with the process, and we just waited for the online session. I'm sure a lot of us would have forgotten a lot of things that were taught during that period. But this learning intervention, which I will call it, it has helped us in a great deal to to associate, to relate, and to remember a lot of things that have been taught, that were taught during the course of the of interaction with the professors. So it's a good thing, and I think um, this this is a practical example of how the forgetting curve, how you can avoid the situation of forgetting curve. The next one is how can you combat it? And like I stated earlier on, you can combat the forgetting curve by revisiting what you've learned, by teaching others, by sharing it with others, and by doing a role play around it. Doing a role play around what you've learned. Revisiting it over time. If you look at this graph, you can see that because of the constant interaction with the learning process, the rate at which you forget will tend to disappear over time. You're going to retain. It will be near to when you first learn it, because you are constantly interacting with it. So that is what this is saying. And this is different from the first graph, which shows that lack of interaction with the learning process, leads to loss of memories or leads to loss of learning. So your interaction with it over time will make sure that you build a skill, you build expertise around it, and you can almost always, put it into practice in real life situation. All right. So the second one, please feel free to stop me if you have any question or contribution. So the second one is
Just,
the
Tajudeen, just try to fix your mic issue. Sometimes we are not hearing you. When you are near to your laptop, we are hearing you properly. So when you are
oh
little away, we are not hearing you sometimes.
oh okay. Sorry, I don't know what's it's okay. Am I very clear now, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. So the second one is learning from experience, which speaks to the cognitive side of of learning, the way our brains work. And according to Professor Max Smith, the brain functions in a way that it goes towards reward and opportunity and away from threat and danger. So meaning we react to situation the way we feel will be comfortable for us. So there are certain social triggers, according to him, that fired up the threat circuits in our brain in a similar way as if our fundamental survival is threatened. And he made reference to the acronym SCARF, which can be used to discuss that. And that is SCARF is uh, status, certainty, autonomy, relatedness, and fairness. So on the status bit, I obtained this video. I want us to listen to the video very well. It's about a father, it's about a family, a father that accidentally crashed the wife's car in the garage. And when the wife confronted him about it, he was trying to put up a defense. So just watch the video and you will see.
Wait a minute. When I do that, I come back and I go. Be careful. No. Okay.
You see? See?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Exactly at the point where it owns the most. See?
Oh, shit. This is what I'm trying to say. I hope you don't like this. I brought my bag and I
But you clearly...
How is it possible? How is it possible? And you see, because I'm always too careful like this, and I can feel my back there. How is it possible?
But Daddy, that's green.
It's another car. I don't know what the hell said. Look at, I know that this is green. This is green. And look at the trajectory. Look at it from top down. How is it possible?
It's very possible. It happened. Just wait until you get your own Tesla, and I will.
All right. So the concluding part of the video.
No, this is the bring of problems. This indicates it.
No, my problem.
Daddy, the problem is that you think that every mistake is a reflection of your character and your morality. So when you make little mistakes, it's so hard for you to admit it because you think too deep into little mistakes.
All right. Okay.
What have you just said?
Listen.
Look at you. Look at this poor girl. Think she can just rope me to a statement and then push me there, then I'll say yes. What have you just said? Please, okay, then I say yes. Okay. You see, you said you want to go and read law. People will go to jail.
All right. So yeah, basically that's speaking to the status part of this calf. Because the father is the head of the family and maybe he's always cautious, he doesn't want to make mistakes. So when he scratched the car, he found it very difficult to admit that he scratched the car and he was trying to put up a defense around it. So the appropriate thing to do when he wants to pick his bag is to use his body to block the car door from touching the other car. So it was demonstrating that to them that was the way he picked his bag. Actually, he knew that was the appropriate thing to do, but that was not the actual thing he did. So he crashed the other car. But because of his status in the family, he was finding it difficult to admit and learn from that mistake, that, oh, that was what happened, I'm sorry about it. So, you know, learning from it and avoiding a repeat of it in future. But, you know, because of the kind of person he is, because of his status, because he's always careful, he find it very difficult to admit to that. And, you know, learning the right thing, learning how to do the right thing, he didn't want to admit in their presence. So this kind of situation, I just felt this was relevant to this. And according to, of course, what Professor Smith shared with us, said one of the ways to avoid this among our team is to create a psychological safety for them in order for them to admit their wrongdoings and learn from experience. So as leaders, we need to learn how to make them comfortable in order to admit and in order to learn from experience. And again, you made mention of learning. Sorry. Okay. He made mention of learning from success. That organizations seems not to know how to learn from success. Sometimes they celebrate and move on, or sometimes they can fall into the fundamental, what you call fundamental attribution error, where when things goes on good, or when things are done the right way, they claim the credit for anything that goes on well, but the bad things they attribute it to others or external factors, you know. So that's that on learning from experience. The next one is learning transfer. And what I learned during the course of my research into the topic, of course, Professor Smith shared with us the right-hand side of the slide, which speaks to data, what we see and observe, and when we put it in the structured format. And basically, this is talking to how we learn and how we acquire knowledge. You know, that the data that we see, that when we put it into a structured format, it turns to information. And when we experience the information, it turns to knowledge. And when we combine the knowledge with what we know before, we attain wisdom from that. And when we put the knowledge into practice, or we apply the knowledge, of course, it leads to skills. And yeah, basically that's how we acquire knowledge. But during the course of my research, I learned that barriers to learning doesn't just happen at the point of application or at the point we are trying to transfer the knowledge, but it could happen before learning, during learning, and after learning. And if it happens before learning, it could be as a result of lack of motivation. People might be thinking, oh, the course is not relevant to me. The learning, the learning process is not relevant to me, and or apprehension or lack of confidence. And for the lack of motivation, what I read is that it usually happen in a highly regimented environment. For instance, in companies or organizations where employees are compelled to undertake some compliance courses. So because they are being forced to do it, they are not motivated to do it. They will feel, oh, it's not relevant to me. They will just do it for doing sake, and because they just want to pass, they will just do it. But if you ask them after the learning process to transfer or teach others, they might not be able to do it because they just did it out of the fact that they were being compelled to do it. So lack of confidence as well is another thing, being apprehensive of the learning process. So what we need to do as leaders is to create an environment where people will know, where we'll give our people the reason for them to understand the importance of the learning process to them, or of what to learn. So during the learning process, the lack of prerequisite knowledge, if you don't know or you don't have any background training on what you are trying to learn, and you don't show willingness to create that understanding for yourself. Again, it can actually deter your learning process. No opportunity for retrieval practice during the learning process. For instance, there are no room for feedback. There are no room for group conversation, group discussions. Just like, you know, in some during the course of this program, at some instance, for the face-to-face interaction we've had, for the online learning process that we've had, we have breakout sessions where we'll be asked to discuss and share our experiences and stuff. So those are the factors that aid the learning process, because we've been given the opportunity to bring out our thoughts, to interact with ourselves. Negative transfer or interference. For instance, some people find it difficult to unlearn what they've learned in the past. For instance, somebody that just finished learning French and want to learn German, you know, the interference along the learning process is somewhat a barrier to learning. So people might be scared, I've just finished learning French, or to learn German, or to learn this, it might interfere with what I've learned before. So these are some of the barriers during learning process. After learning, failure to design for transfer and lack of opportunity to practice transfer. Like I said earlier on, lack of opportunity to practice the transfer. For instance, role play, you know, use it for people in the medical line, using Flipkart to remember acronyms and keywords. If there are no opportunities to practice that, or to engage and embed yourself into the learning process, then it can be a barrier to transfer. So basically, if we don't have full grasp of the learning process through the before the learning, during learning, and after learning, it can be a great barrier to transfer of what we've learned. So basically, of course, the discussion that comes up during the class was this: what's most likely to stop us from putting into practice what we've learned during the SMP, and what do we have to do to stop this from happening? So during the lecture, you know, we typed it. No, we didn't have interaction around this. So I don't know if we have 1 or 2 minutes to share our thoughts on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Tajudeen. In today's agenda, we have this at the last, that we will share all the things. The last topic as what we want to get from SMP that we have in the different session rooms. We will be discussing it today. So I will move to next. I think Kavita is with us. So Kavita, can you please start fixed mindset versus growth mindset? Tajudeen, can you please stop sharing?
Yeah, 1 minute. Trying to do that. Okay, done.
Yeah, thank you. So Kavita, are you around?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Please, can you just share your screen?
Thanks, Tajudeen. That was a great presentation.
Thank you.
My screen.
I think Kavita was sleeping.
What were you saying? I missed it. Mustafa. Okay, I did try putting this across.
Yeah.
So I think one of the biggest learning accelerator is also the kind of mindset we have. There's a very interesting book which I picked up. This is basically, the book is known as Mindset. It's New Psychology for Success. That's what they claim. It just talks about conventionally how each one of us, human beings, we are wired to have mindsets, which are either fixed or, it's a growth mindset. Now, there's nothing wrong or right, but it's the belief that makes us the way we are. It's the wiring that makes us. So, I mean, to go a little more deeper in terms of how does our mindsets get evolved, I'm sure we've all read about it, but I'm just reiterating it. By the time you're 7, your conscious mind is actually developed and your mind starts getting programmed from the age of 7. The way the programming is, it's lots to do with the culture, upbringing, the belief system that you see around or you develop, your family, your surroundings, the experiences of life that you've had. The mindsets typically get developed. So if you say, if it's a fixed mindset, it comes with the fact that the character is fixed, intelligence is fixed, your behaviors are fixed, and there is only as much you can do. Your innate need is to always look smart. People who come with fixed mindset also usually are somebody who are very, very, they're very, very sure in terms of what I am doing, the way I am doing is the right way. They are the ones who start with the belief of saying that, I can't lose weight, or anything that you can believe, I am not a natural in this. So they will have thousands of reasons for not doing a thing, which is typically all falling under the category of why I can't do a thing. Versus, again, they will have their own definitions of why they can do a thing. And that's typically how the characteristic of a fixed mindset is. There's another mindset, which is your second mindset, which is your growth mindset. Now, growth mindset is typically a mindset where people come with a very fluid state of mind. They believe that learning is something which you have irrespective of what you do. So their innate need, innate desire is always to go with learning. So if you'll see, irrespective of the situation, everything boils down to the fact that I will learn and I'll better. The theory typically in life is either I am successful or I learn. I never fail. So when you don't fear failure, you always are open to learning. Typically, if there is a challenge, a fixed mindset is somebody who will go with avoiding a challenge because the innate need is to look smart. So what if I fail? So they don't want to get into a challenging situation. Whereas a growth mindset will embrace challenge. They are the ones who will say, yeah, let's bring it on. I'll do better. Because again, the theory is I'll either learn or I'll succeed. There is no failure. Whenever they are stuck, say a fixed mindset and obstacles, they'll give up easily. These guys are very persistent. They always, with the need to learn, will push. They are open to face setbacks. Efforts, people with fixed mindset, their efforts are fruitless as worth. So see, what happens is when results are not coming, they will stop the ratio of efforts. So they'll say, I'll try, but if it really I have to go out of the way, I may not. Because my life is fixed. So it really doesn't change if I try something new. So should I even make efforts to do that? Whereas if you look at a growth mindset, these are people who are very, very willing to experiment. So they will always go with it. Again, criticism, that's a very important one. If you criticize a fixed mindset, they will ignore you. They will react very strongly. They're also somebody who may not want to talk to you again. Whereas if you go to a person with growth mindset, these are the people who will be always seeking for feedbacks, criticism. Tell me, how can I make it better? These are the questions they always come back with. Again, the fixed mindset is very competitive in mind. They feel very insecure because they don't develop their skills. They are not in the routine. See, for them, it's not learning is not something which they really thrive on. So when they don't thrive on learning, what happens is when they see others succeeding, they feel very threatened or jealous, or even, there's somebody who would want to avoid them. Whereas, if you see the growth mindset, they're the people who are willing to go extra mile in terms of seeing somebody successful. They get so inspired, they'll go and connect with them and say, tell me, how did you do it? Can I learn from you? I've just put some differentiators, which I've been talking about.
Kavita, I have a question.
How they react, because it's very important for us. We'll be living with these people, every day. So it's important for us to understand how their talent, ability, their mindsets are.
Kavita, may I ask a question, please?
Yeah, please.
I think the mindset, it's not something that you born with, fixed or growth. It depends on a person himself, how he wants to live. What do you think?
I didn't say you're born with. I said you get wired to. By the age of 7, a child's mind starts getting wired. And that's why when the upbringing happens, for those who are, those of us who are parents, we should be very mindful that, from the age of 7, your child's mind start getting wired, programmed for life. And this is when your behavior start building. By the time you're 13, 14, they are far more firmer. And they're also going through so much changes that, so what you're seeing around you, the culture, your situation, your experiences of life are all getting programmed, and your mindset starts building around it. Now, in the same house, 2 kids can have very different mindset with the same parents, same upbringing, same experience.
Actually, this was my second question.
Yeah. So it's all because of the way you're wired. The way you're wired is something which is very unique to you. And each one of us have to understand that our wirings start very early in life. But we are very, very, so it's again our personality type. If our openness to try, and that's where parenting, teaching, all that, they are the influencers in life. And also people change. When they go on the job, they change. Maybe, your boss, the way your experiences in life is, you change, you evolve. Because human being, at the end of the day, we have to believe that we are very high on adaptability. And that's a very natural talent for us. That's the only reason why dinosaurs have gone and we are still around. The oldest living species, because we've been evolving every single day. And if you ask me, there is no clear growth and fixed mindset. With experience, we all learn, and usually most of us are something in between. We are fixed about certain things, but we are also open about it. Now, the degree and the percentage varies from person to person. Who's on the extreme end, these are the ones who become very difficult to deal with, especially the fixed ones. But is there anything right and wrong? Not really. That's the way you are.
Yeah.
Any other question?
No, it's fine. It's fine. Actually, I read a book. It's called Conscious and Subconscious Mind. So basically, they are also talking about the similar thing, what Professor Marx show us in that quadrant. So for to be a successful, you need to train your subconscious mind at a level when you are, driving a car and you are not thinking about that you need to press the race or you need to press the brake because you are skilled enough, but that skill is coming from your subconscious mind. So I think fixed mindset and growth mindset is a different topic, but end of the day, it's all about uh, how you are looking at the things you are ready to learn or you don't want to learn. That's all.
Mustafa,
It's about a
I'll
choice.
just add on this piece, your conscious and subconscious, how you connect with fixed and growth. See, again, what it talks about, conscious and subconscious mind is, conscious mind is like a lion tamer, and your subconscious mind is the lion, right? Your conscious mind is the logical reasoning mind, whereas your subconscious mind is innocent. It's something which will believe what you say. And it is the one which is the mighty powerful one. It makes things happen, right? A subconscious mind has infinite power, and each one of us, while it's a very different topic to discuss, but what happens is how you leverage your subconscious mind is an action of your conscious mind, and the conscious mind is divided between fixed and growth. Yeah. So subconscious mind ultimately will not question you. If you say, I am bad, everything is bad, things around me is negative, I'm going to die, the world is an ugly place to live in, the subconscious mind will believe and it will start making it look bad. It will make everything you're saying happen true. If you're from a fixed mindset, you will say that I can only do as much. I can't really struggle. I can't really run faster. These are all beliefs, right? I can't lose weight. I can't diet. I can't do this. So all the can'ts is something which your subconscious mind starts believing. And it just makes your personality type more and more rigid. Whereas if you're in the growth mindset, you'll say, oh, fantastic, let's try. It's anyway wonderful. The fundamental difference between fixed and growth mindset is extremely positive. Are the people who will be, and you will find it, you guys just need to look around. There are personality types who comes across and says, hey, what's up? They're usually the ones who are smiling. They're usually the one who have a compliment for everybody. They look at the sunny side of the life. They're usually the ones who comes up and says, come on, let's do something new. Okay, tell me, how do we make it better? Let's all try this new thing out. What do we do new today? For them, everything is about how do you learn. The innate need for a growth mindset is trying it out, experimenting it new, because their need is to learn. Whereas for the fixed mindset, the need is to look smart. They want the world to recognize themselves as great minds. When you want to look great, you don't want to do anything where you will fail. Trying out means I may fail. Chances are there, right? Then the world will not say I'm smart. So the need to look smart, and these are the people who always keep saying, "Log kya kahenge? What will people say around me?" They're very bothered about what are people going to be perceiving me as. So they always want to look very good, not physically. Otherwise called, "Oh wow, he's a great guy, so successful," and so on. So their self-esteem is something that is very important for them. Only to protect that, they go to any level. Gallup has a beautiful way of describing them. That's another very interesting topic, and we guys can actually get deeper there, but topic for some other day. Gallup says that there are two types of personality. It's again fixed and growth. It says there are basement and balcony personality types. Basement, typically, like we have things hidden in the basement, right? We don't know what's there in the basement. There's no sunlight, we can't see. And we would usually put discarded things. So typically, these are the people who don't know what talent they have, what they bring in. They are the ones who always are the ones who are insecure because they themselves don't know what they have. Whereas people who are balcony types are usually the ones who are going constantly around asking for feedback, collaborating. They're the ones who would always be challenging and want to master newer degrees, newer skills, newer things, because the innate need is to, grow. That's typically on, I think I should avoid this. I did some bit of drama. When Tajudeen was making some colorful presentation, I got very inspired. I thought I will add some. Good. Just put this together only for us to understand.
It would be good if you put one man and one woman. It will be even more colorful.
I don't want to get into gender bias.
So you put both women, so it is a
even
gender bias.
Women are like that, with fixed and growth mindset. So typically, do we come across people like this? Will you be able to, once you start understanding this better, within 5 minutes of conversation with a person, you can actually figure out if he comes with a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. And this is a very important skill when you're hiring a person, when you're putting a development plan, when you're looking at a newer project. Which kind of a person will you look for? A growth mindset or a fixed mindset? Because both have merit and advantages. So it's important to understand the traits of these people and their why factor, why a person behaves the way they behave. Any question?
Hi, Kavita. I just have one quick question. Can you hear me?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. My question is, since you mentioned about, talking to somebody and getting to understand if this person is a fixed or a growth mindset. Is it good to judge in that way? In terms of somebody's, my point is, there could be people with fixed mindset who can be successful, who can also be a performer. Because if you look at the characteristics of these people, in a way, I feel the people with fixed mindset, it's a kind of their personality, or some way or other, it's a born quality of somebody. And there are people who could have a fixed mindset and still could be successful? Because in terms of the qualities I see, at least 80% of the people that you meet will probably have a fixed mindset. It's only, I'm assuming, probably a 10-20%. These are the exceptional people around. I mean, these are the entrepreneurial people, or these are the people who are really, really successful. So on a daily basis, or meeting with somebody, I mean, of course, I mean, I feel at least 70 to 80% will fall under the fixed mindset of the people. So is it right to judge them based on this particular quality of
No, but I completely agree with you. It's not about judging, it's about understanding. It's about knowing. And like you rightly said, both have the merit and disadvantage. If I have a project where I need an experienced person who's tried and tested and who will give me near perfection, consistent performance time and again, I may go with fixed mindset people. Right? So it's about understanding. As a leader, you need to understand who's from a fixed mindset, who's from a growth mindset. If I have an uncharted territory and I have to develop a newer market, I would probably go with a growth mindset person. It's for you as leader to understand. It's not about judging, because you rightly said, I say that every human being has a fixed and a growth mindset combination. You ask me if you will find one in isolation of another. No, some percentage will always be there. We all may like to believe that we are from growth mindset, but we also have a very strong percentage of fixed mindset in us, because the way we've been wired, the way we've been brought up. So those things will always be there. So no judging, clearly. It's about understanding and knowing how do we make the most of it. Because if somebody is very, very rigid about certain things, comes with strong fixed mindset, you can't try and change them.
On a lighter note, maybe world doesn't need more than 20% with growth mindset.
You ask me, you're right. Maybe, 70 to 75% people are coming with fixed mindset. We all are coming from fixed mindset. It's only the newer age advantage and disruption like COVID, which is forcing people to really think differently and forcing us to really question the way we've been functioning. While these things have been there for time immortal, we've been talking about it, but circumstances actually forces us to. And again, as I said, human being is the highest in adaptability. So we will adapt faster and move as per our advantage.
Kavita, hi, this is Rehan here.
Yeah.
And a very interesting presentation and topic as well. Just a question, in the main presentation, we heard that like life events can move someone from a growth mindset into a fixed mindset. Is there a way to move someone back from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, or how to trigger growth mindset? Yeah.
You just asked me. So the next slide talks about it. See, we all have this barrier, whether we like it or not. The reality check in our life is that we all are coming from fixed mindset. Because as I was saying, wiring starts getting fixed from the age of 7. Now, we are all wired in certain way, and we are all born with certain traits and talents. Some things are natural, which we believe are talent. Others are skill, which we've just developed over a period of time. Now, the growth mindset is only in percentages. There's a very interesting study from Gallup which says only 9% people in this world have actually achieved the 100% of growth mindset. Otherwise, we are all struggling in various phases of fixed mindset. Now, what do we do? How do we move from a fixed to a growth mindset for each one of us and for people who are struggling? So that's something which I've tried explaining through a Johari. I'm missing our friend here. He mentioned last time. Mustafa, you remember last session?
Yeah, Atanu
shared. So I thought it will be interesting for me to explain this. See, guys, we are all born with certain innate talents in us. Now, once we know our talents, they become strength. Now, just to touch upon what talent is, you may have noticed that certain people, they love to talk to people. When they are walking from their apartment, right from the gatekeeper to the doorman to the grocer shop to anybody and everybody they'll meet, they'll be saying hi, hello, somebody will be waving them back. These are people who are very, very outward, and they know how to win people over, Now there'll be somebody who will be living for 20 years. You may not even know the name of that person. And typically it happens because these are people who like to be very reserved and so on. So these are all different talents. There are bifurcations. Gallup says that each human being is born with 34 talent. I believe these are all personality type, which is very innate to yourself. Each one of us have these 4 quadrants in our life. Look at it from a perspective where the quadrant 1 is open area. We call it arena. It's a free area. What's unique about this area? It's basically what is known to self and what is known to others, which means people who know me as this. So if I was to say Mustafa has a personality, everybody knows what he is. This is his open area. That's the part 1 of it, the Windows 1. Second side is the blind area, which means I don't know, as an individual, you don't know about it, but the world knows it. So it's an unknown by self. I'll repeat here. It could be certain things like somebody is a very short-tempered guy. But the person, when you ask him, why were you angry? The person will say, oh, really? Was I angry? But people around him knows if you do this, this guy will get triggered. And this person is not even conscious of it. So second quadrant is the blind area, which we usually say that is the worst side because people can see you, people know that side of you, but you yourself don't realize. Third part is the hidden area, wherein you know it, but others don't know it. It's typically when you're in a new job or in a new relationship, you're dating somebody, you want to be the best. So you are hiding certain things. You would always want to talk good about yourself and, project yourself as a Superman. Whereas there may be things which you know that you don't like it or you don't have it, but you may lie about it. I'm not true for everybody, just sharing. You're trying to impress. In newer jobs also, you will see that people want to really show that, yes, I can do it, may take over more. In interview, typically, the hidden area is larger. And that is where the interviewer gets trapped. Because you try to be something which you're not. Hidden area is, you know it, you don't have it, but others don't know it. The last quadrant is basically where even others don't know and you yourself don't know. Which is worst, which is your uncharted potential, which is where your maximum power is and you don't know it. So how do you improve? How do you ensure that your open arena is more? Because ideal self is open arena being the maximum. The dotted line, if you see, talks about how you make it bigger. Now, how do you do it? It's a simple model. To push your blind area, you need to to push your blind area further, means open area should be broadened. If you look at window 2, the only way is to ask. Please tell me, feedback is the only way your blind area will reduce. Why? Because others know it, you don't know it. So if you go back and ask feedback, tell me, how did I do? Likelihood is people may first say, oh, great. But if they feel you're genuine, you will start getting really good feedbacks. And in that feedback, make sure you ask and insist upon tell me a place where I can improve. And that is when the real conversation starts happening and people start giving you the honest feedback.
But Kavita, normally when I need this kind of thing, what I used to ask my colleagues and friends, I used to ask them, I don't need any positive what we have. I need only negative. Just the competition between couple of guys, 2 or 3, just tell me what is negative in it, what is not good in it.
You must try asking me, I'll give you a list.
Yeah.
Kavita, Rehan here. Thank you very much for that. It was very helpful.
Sorry, Rehan, I missed you.
No, I was saying it's very helpful. Thank you for this chart, the table. It's very helpful.
Pleasure. So as I said, ask more and more feedback. As managers, as leaders, as father, as I would say even partners, you're the best feedback you can get is from your spouse. But maybe you don't need it. That's a different story. But you must ask your partner, your parents, who know you for the longest time, to give you feedback. And they know you the best. Your blind area has to be covered, guys, because it's like you are standing where people can see you what you are and you yourself are not aware. You know, it's a very scary area if you really think through. But
The
most of us,
question is, if you ask your spouse, you will get the right feedback.
you will get more than you require, more than what is solicited. I still believe it's a genuine one. You can choose how much to take.
Yeah.
But they would know the best, because see, what happens is you're unmasked in a longer relationship you are in. And that's why I said your parents, your even your kids for that matter. I go back to my 14-year-old and ask him, and he tells me things which make me feel I'm the most horrible person on this earth. But maybe he doesn't have any reason to mask. So he'll tell me what he believes. And taking those feedbacks really help. I can give you one example of pushing the blind. I still have a lot of it, but one thing I realized, I used to have this whole thing called open session. Every Friday evening, we used to just, before calling it a week, sit together and call for coffee, snacks. And over that, we would chit chat in terms of just sharing feedbacks. How did the week go by? And we're not talking work here, we're talking behaviors. So high pressure job, usually people will fly off the handle. Somebody will say some things to others. So I always used to believe that I used to close the week by having on a good note so that we start Monday with a positive note. And I was shocked, guys, when I asked feedback, I always used to believe I'm a very happy-go-lucky person. But my team members started telling me, you know what, Monday mornings are the worst days when we don't want to come to your room. And half of us don't enter your room because we know you're screaming wild, when will you push? So I realized that maybe that's true. I didn't realize it at all. And when I really started thinking through, it happened that by Sunday evening, my stress built up for all the things that are pending for Monday. And my Monday morning started off with that. So, you know, consciously started working on it. There were many such things that comes up when you actually start talking. They may be small things, but it helps. And when your team members start seeing it, that, oh, I gave a feedback and my boss worked on it, it really helps. It helps you bond and connect. Because at the end of the day, we are in a generation where neither our kids nor our juniors will work for you just because you're sitting on that chair or just because you are their parents, you know, they don't. So you need to earn that. And one of the easiest and the best way I've seen working with millennials is to go back and ask them humbly that, please tell me my area of improvement. My blind spot get better, and those misunderstandings are also cleared off. So misconception, misunderstanding are cleared. Second is your hidden area. I think, how do you do that? The best way is to tell. So one is a ask model, second is a tell model, because you only know about it. Others don't know. So you can only improve your hidden area by telling others. So when you do an action, please bother to explain your intent. Do more of self-disclosure in the sense, I did this action, but my intent was this. When people genuinely understand your intent was good, they will start respecting you more. They will start understanding you more, and they will start accepting the way you are. Because each one of us are very different. So it's very important to do a lot of self-disclosures, to tell about yourself, and mostly about the action and the intent, because these are two different things, guys. You may want to protect your team. For protecting your team, you may want to really push them hard and deliver a deadline. If you don't tell them that intent, your action will only be seen as a pushy boss. So it's very important for you to explain, do more of self-disclosure. And the power of the tell is that they don't see you as vulnerable, but they see you as honest. They see you as a person who has right intention. Maybe the action could be anything. If a deadline is not met and the boss is screaming, the subordinate may think that the boss is the most terrible guy. But if the boss explains the intent, that guy, I don't want you to lose your job. I don't want our team to look bad. I don't want our bonuses to be hit. I don't want business to think our department is not required. If he understands that intent, you know, his ability to do or stretch will be higher. So hidden area is another area where you must talk honestly, because guys, our actions are always misleading. Intent has to be explained. Only then people will know you better. Especially in relationship, of late, there's a wave, there is a very low acceptability among people. So you're together, and I do a lot of coaching to people who are doing relationship counseling. So I've seen relationship fail, be it between friends, be it between, real life relationship in terms of being partners or mother and kid. Relationship failures are also because of having this large hidden area. Old school of thought, our parents never bothered to explain, but we accepted them the way they were. But today's time and age has gone. So you have to explain your intent. You have to justify your actions. So, that's the only way your hidden area will be better. See, the arena, the more it is open, the more balcony personality you will be, the more growth mindset will come in. Because you start asking for feedback, you start telling more about yourself. When your feedback comes in, you have to also work on it, right? So when you start working on the feedback, you will become open, you will start trying it out, and you start pushing yourself from a fixed to a growth mindset. The last part is a very important one. It's your unknown potential. You don't know what you have, and others also don't know. So how do you do? What do you do? And this is the trickiest part. Guys, each one of us are born with talents. Each one of us are born with gifts which we ourselves don't know. It's about exploring. It's about doing some things which you've never done before. The most unconventional thing that your mind has said, I cannot do it, is something you must try. And the more you try, the more you discover yourself, the more you understand that you're capable of it. And that is where I always insist that if you need to understand your own unknown potential, it's important for you to be exploring. Now, exploring may not be only an area of work or studies, but also exploring from what you always believed that you can't do. I can give you an example. I have a huge height phobia. I have fear for height. But I've done all the things in this lifetime that people can think of, craziest of them, when it comes to involving height. So every year I go on one action. I mean, I undertake one tour where I have to face the challenge of heights. So I've done parasailing, cliff jumping, bungee jumping. I've gone to the Macau Tower and done that. I have done the air jumping, everything. You name it, I've done it. Only reason is every time I believe I'm going to die, I somehow surprisingly don't die. I come back and say, hey, I'm alive again. But I have realized that the more you push your limits, you're better. You're more human. And you realize that, oh, I don't have to be worried. I had a worst review and I was so scared. Then I suddenly thought of the time, what did I do last when I was so scared? I realized I jumped the Macau Tower. The bungee jumping is the highest in the world there. I said, if I could do this, what is this? And believe me, there is no correlation, but I had no fear. I just went through it. And when I went through it with the confidence that I can do it, it happened. Again, the power of subconscious mind, it happened. So these are our fears. Everything that we believe that we can't do, we must challenge. And that is when your fourth quadrant, your unknown potential comes out. Ask somebody to be your observer. Be, whoever you trust. Now it could be anybody. You need to choose whoever you can trust and tell them that, I tried this, this happened. And do you see a change in my personality? Do you see the way I look at things? And you'll suddenly start, if the person is observant about you, you'll start getting feedbacks which may help you. So as I said, it's very important for us to try out things which we have never believed so that our fourth quadrant becomes a little more open. And the more your arena, your open space is high, your free area is broad, you need not be fearful. And people of growth mindset are the ones who have no fear, because their motto in life is very clear. You either succeed or you learn. You never fail. And when you're not fearing failure, for that, you need to have your arena big. People will accept you. It's okay to fail. Who has not failed in life? So it's very important for us to have a open space big. So my question back to each one of you, what do you think you would do differently to push your blind, hidden and unknown area? And really think through. You can put it as an afterthought in a note. I mean, we can all catch up on the chat or whatever, but really take some time to reflect back on what Mark was saying, reflect back on this and think about it. How will you make your blind spot better, hidden area better, and just 1-2 things that you would do. And it could be innate, it could be for you. You don't even have to share it, but do reflect upon it.
I want to do
Hello?
skyfall, whatever call it.
Sorry?
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah.
Okay, so KD, thanks so much. If you ask me, the third quadrant is very, very important for managers. And personally, I think I can do better in that area. For those of us in the financial services industry, we are constantly under pressure as leaders. The numbers have to be right. The numbers have to improve all the time. You can never get the best numbers from your activities. So, and because of that, we tend to pass down that pressure to our people. And if we don't express ourselves, if you don't practice openness and try to tell them the reason why you are in that mode, I think it always leads to counterproductivity. So you are right. The top contract is very, very important, and I think personally, I need to work hard towards improving in that aspect. I don't usually, yeah, I do it once in a while, but anytime I engage my people and I tell them how I feel, how important they are to the success of my group and what have you, they tend to appreciate it. But maybe I need to do it more. If you do it more with your people, the clarity of purpose would be would be clear to them. So thank you for sharing. Very, very important.
Well thought. Well, very good, Tajudeen. Well said.
I want to do a couple of things, Kavita. I want to do what you have done. So maybe
What have I done?
no, just jumping and all those things,
Oh yeah, you
sky
must do that.
falling, especially, and all those things. Really, I
You
wish
must
to.
ask-
I wish to do it. To
You
be
must,
honest,
you must, yeah.
it is on my list. Whenever I will get some time, I'll do it.
Mustafa, time will never come. Believe me, you have to take it up.
Yeah,
If
that's
you-
true. But
Whenever the time will come,
Corona is not
put it
letting
on the
us to
list
do
and
anything.
move.
Yeah. Okay, so now we have last topic, and I will start. Guys, if you can, switch on your cameras, that will be good. But still, we'll continue. I'll start with Gautam. There is, one leadership superpower that was part of this discussion. So what that supervisor, we do have a discussion in different groups, in small groups. So let's have this discussion in now. So maybe we'll be able to learn from each other more. So Gautam, can you please let us know what is that one leadership superpower that you want from SMP and how it will benefit you?
Hi, Mustafa. Okay, sorry, my camera is still off. I'm using my mobile data, so sometimes it might be a bit choppy. So, on the discussion that we had, the superpower that I mentioned to the team that I might, I intend to have is to bring the objective of business onto every single person in the company, because I firmly believe the goal or the intention of the company should be rolled down to the bottommost people as well. What the CEO believes should be the same what the rank and file employee should believe also. If the CEO believes that my company will make $10 billion this year, and the next level do not trust on that or do not believe in that, the whole thing becomes a mess. So, firstly, that superpower make. What I believe, I want my team. I want to make sure that I bring it in such a way that they believe in what I believe.
So basically, it's influence, the one that you are
Exactly.
looking for. So you
Influence in the sense, you can influence people. It's not about influencing somebody. Influence, I don't know if it's the right word to use. But I want them, if, for example, if you're setting a target for your company, right? you I mean, I always want my employees to fix the target for the company. I mean, usually it's coming from the top, right? I mean, usually the leadership or the CEOs who always decides the target. But in my organization or in my region, what I always ask is my employees, what do you think should be our target for the next year? I first want to see if my thoughts are aligned with their thoughts, if what I have in mind is aligned with them. But most often or not, it doesn't. Usually employees do not think that, that high as what you think, or sometimes they might just think, okay, we've done this, probably it'll be good if we do that. And then I will tell them, what if we do this? I mean, you think we can do this, but what if, say, for example, if we made 1 billion and when I ask them, they say, it's good if we make 1.2, 1.3 next year. Then I tell them, how about if we make 2 billion the next year? Do you think that's possible? They might say probably not, or may or may not happen. So then we will discuss about what things will make this happen. I mean, it's that we made this much, and we have this much to do. What do you think will make it happen? And having that, are we confident that we will reach? And more or less, we might come to a stage wherein we will agree on something in the middle. Like, okay, we will always set two targets. One is aggressive, and one is a conservative targets. So conservative is something that we have to achieve no matter what. I mean, that's everybody believes that this is possible, and we will achieve it. And aggressive are the one that we will give our best to achieve it. Everybody gives their best, but that's something will give them a better benefits, a better incentive. I mean, when we hit that, there is something for everyone in it. So that's how we said it. But I mean, it's not as easy as what I say, but at times it's very difficult to make people to believe that they can really go beyond what they have achieved in a year. And most of the time they feel that's the best that they can do, and there is nothing more that they can do the next year. So, I mean, especially on sales, they feel I'm a bit greedy at times. I mean, how do you think I can do this? I mean, I'm already doing more than what I can do, but how do you think I can do double of what I'm doing? So it's usually, that's again going back to the fixed mindsets, or sometimes people always think that's the best that they can do, no matter what they'll be given. And sometimes you really have to push your employees, and when they go hit that one, that's the time they believe that, yeah, I can do this. Now I know that I can do this. And that sets a benchmark for a lot of other employees as well. So I pick and choose the employees who can set benchmarks. So I push those people. I spend a lot of time with those people so that they set benchmarks right. So it's all about making somebody to believe in a group of like 10 sales guys. If one guy can achieve, everybody gets that motivation. So that's my biggest, I would say, the superpower I might want to put
to add on to your point, I think if you understand the one coming with a growth mindset are the ones you need to pick up in terms of motivating, and they will set the benchmark. Once you as a manager understand that trait, it's easier.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, people are, what I believe is everyone are different. So one strategy may not work with everybody. So I always split my strategy as per the personality of the people, because there are few people that you can push them, but there are few people that you cannot push them no matter what you do. I mean, you can threaten, you can be nice with them, you can do anything with them, you can take them to a lunch or dinner, but they simply can't go. I mean, there are
beyond
some people.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So
that's a typical paradox.
Exactly.
Yeah. With this, I will go to Tommy. Tommy, try. And the question is again the same, Tommy. That what is that superpower that you are looking from SMP? So please let us know.
Okay. I cannot see my camera. I just share. I think leadership superpower, like I just share with Mustafa. My company, there is my GM is from Singapore, and she now for maybe 6 months, because of COVID cannot come to Vietnam. She has to manage the company from Singapore to Vietnam, and with that I just shared in this group that she's not perform the leadership well, and it make the company now a little bit. I mean, the no leader, say no leader, and then people just fight each other, not because of COVID, but because of the lack of leadership. So with that, I refer back to our content. I see that a leadership power will help the staff a lot, because if the leader give the good direction and prove that direction is supported and is a good way to develop, and people believe in that, people will go very smoothly. If not, there will be nothing happen.
Okay, great. So now we have in the room Igor. Igor, if may ask you the similar question, can you please tell us what is that you are looking for and that you really think it will help you to improve your decision making, improve your, the role in your company. So can you please let us know, Agor?
Hi, Mustafa.
Hi.
So sorry, I was driving, so I had to adjust a little bit to the.
You are driving.
So,
I think it's a good idea.
Yes.
Keep the camera off.
No, I already stopped.
Okay. Okay.
So,
yeah, safety is important.
Yeah, it's safe now. It's safe now. Don't worry. Sorry, if you're asking what will help to improve the
No, your
learning process,
superpower.
or
No, the question is what one superpower
superpower
that you are looking for from Cambridge that will help you?
oh yeah, something that we have already been once discussed. Actually, what I was looking at, said let's say my expectation from the beginning, really to come to the next kind of to the next level, maybe in my the way I see business and maybe life in general. So I think the superpower would be
Losing you.
Yeah. Agor, we cannot hear you. I
different
think you
level.
have.
Looking for next level.
That's to see. Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me now? Is it?
Yeah, better.
Yeah, okay. So it is not really something totally new. I would say it's a superpower, but it's rather bringing it to the next level. So definitely, what I hear from the team during the lectures, some of the things are absolutely new to me. Yeah, and also today's contribution, for example, with with the way of going into the unknown and to test yourself in areas that let's say scares you, and the learning core curve. Those are the things which we might have heard somewhere before, but it's totally different when you hear it from live persons. Yeah, not reading in a book, if it makes sense. Yeah, so it gives you totally let's say gives these words or these ideas totally different perspective and power actually. Yeah, so that's at least my experience. Yeah, you can read an article and with a lot of right and good words. Yeah, but if you take it from people who live it, who've done it, yeah, it's I think totally different. Like for example, Mustafa, today you ask about if anyone was in M&A. I think you're coming from maybe from the same from the same standpoint of view, it's yeah, you can definitely find all the theories. You can just Google it. You'll find probably millions of pages with M&A, and everyone will be correct. Yeah, but it's much more valuable if you take it from somebody who actually has done it, and you're talking to a real person.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I expect really, and I'm not there yet. I will be honest. I'm expecting still more to come from the course. Yeah, and I think I enjoy really these discussions off class, so to say, because there's a really great addition to the class, and yeah, I will see where it takes me. Yeah, but I'm already. I think I already learned, gained a lot. Yeah, looking at a different perspective on the job I'm doing now, and even the my own business that I'm starting parallel. So I'm trying to put these ideas immediately into some
Practice.
practice. Yeah. So I'm really thankful to everyone who's contributing and working in this group. I think I'll steal my turn to also one day to contribute something.
Yeah.
So I
Actually,
hope it will be also useful for the others.
I'm preparing one presentation how to start the startup. That will be from my part, and I will share
Fantastic.
with
Okay.
all of you guys who really wants to start their businesses. So I'll try to contribute as much as I can. I'll share all my experience that I have with last my failures and success. It's a very mixed experience, and I really think that I can add value to any of those participants or for our peers who really wants to start his or her business. So with the same question, Saurav is with us. Kavita will be the
Yeah,
last
Saurabh,
who.
we would love to hear you.
Yeah, Kavita will be the last answering the similar question, but I'll go to Saurav. So Saurav, please let us know.
Thanks, Mustafa. Thanks, everyone. Sorry, I was slightly delayed by about 20-30 minutes because I had taken my son for a walk. So I
I'm
could
sure
not join
that
the
you
call.
did not miss the presentation of Kavita.
No, I did not, but I was also looking forward to hear Rehan. Kavita's presentation
Yeah.
was very insightful. I think I have actually learned about the Johari window. It was part of one of the
MBA.
programs that yes, not in the MBA, but I did a leadership program a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
It was part of that. So yeah, it was interesting. Thanks for that. So your question around the leadership superpower, I think my views haven't changed, Mustafa. What you all have heard from me from the very beginning, when we were in the first session, wherein we had to talk about ourselves and what do we want to get out of this whole session or program. I think it's the same. I've maintained that I want to move away from the current transactional leadership that I'm actually in, wherein I am more focused towards managing the status quo, doing the day-to-day work, ensuring that I'm delivering on the desired commercial objectives, and everything is very predictable. That okay, fine, next year you have to grow by this much. I think I want to invest in terms of bringing a change in my leadership style from moving away from this sort of, as I mentioned, transactional leadership to more transformational, which requires in terms of taking more risk, developing my own vision and leading with a vision, creating that culture of encouraging and motivating employees and my team members to innovate, and they should also come up with ideas, as I think Gautam mentioned, that creating that group of people who can actually take that challenge, which is more around the growth mindset. I think it's all connected. So encouraging people that okay, fine, they should come up with more ideas and go beyond and go that extra mile and come up with innovative ideas, and that can help us to really experiment. This is what we learned in one of the modules in the first session, and which is not happening currently because we are stuck in that fixed mindset that we have to deliver this and this has to happen in this manner.
True.
So I think that change requires a different approach. We will have to I'll have to give my employees and my team members that faith and trust and belief that even if they make mistakes, that's okay. So I think that creating that culture and taking that risk, I think that's what I would like to develop or see as a superpower in me going forward. So that's something which I still believe that that's one thing which I want to get out of this.
Thank you, Saurabh. Actually, I have also the similar kind of wish that I'm looking for, and I'm sure that Kavita is aware of it because I have two, three sessions on the same topic with her. Uh, my only wish, or I can say, is the superpower that I'm looking for is how to create a winning team. This is what I'm looking for. So if I would be able to find the right spinner, right fast bowler, right all-rounder, right opening batsman, right middle order, so that would be the team that I'm looking for. And to be honest, as of today, maybe I'm not good enough to judge the people and to find that right people at the right positions. So this is my superpower that I'm trying to find and trying to get from SMP with the help of all you guys. So let's see if I would be successful or not. And I have believed that with the help of people like Kavita and many others, Saurabh, and we have Atanush, he is very good. I had a couple of sessions with him as well. So I might be able, to get this. Okay, from here, I'll go to Rehan. So Rehan, so can you please tell us what you are looking from SMP?
Yeah, thanks, Mustafa. You can hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. So thanks, everyone. And it was some really interesting presentations today, more insights, and I'm actually enjoying these discussions. From SMP, actually, there are two things that I was looking at. One is really to look at the ability to strengthen the decision-making skills, because I'm really good at sharing information and getting like collaborating and all that, but I'm not a very good decision maker. So one thing that I'm really interested in strengthening is my ability to make sound decisions and to strengthen the ability to make strategic choices and so forth. The second, of course, is to learn from all of you all, because I've followed similar programs in the past. One through the master's group when I followed the master's program in one of the universities in Sri Lanka a few years ago. That group, we are still in touch. I was still speaking to some of them earlier this week. And then some other programs, like there was a program in Netherlands which was carried out. So the learnings that we learn from the team and the relationships that we take forward from this will really be a solid part of this program. Thanks again for everything.
Thank you. So Tajudeen, please.
Okay, thank you. Just like you said, what I'm looking for is exactly similar to what Shama and yourself are looking for. I want to move away from being a transactional leader to a transformative leader, and I'm trying to create a winning team. And the only way I could do that is putting together bits and pieces of what we've learned here, and most importantly, the great insight shared by KD earlier on. So if we put all these bits and pieces together, I'm sure if I put it into practice and I put it into use, I will be able to create the winning team that I'm looking for. So basically, my objective from day one remained the same, and it's about moving towards a strategic leader and creating a winning team. Thank you.
So we have now Kavita.
Guys, I think I'm more thoughtful now, more than anything else. I heard all of you. And I think our quest is very similar. We all want to have a similar journey. Something very beautifully, I remember Kishore wrapping up by saying, what got you here will not get you there. It's a very famous book by Marshall Goldsmith. I don't know. I personally believe in the area that I've worked in. My only reason of joining SMP was that I've done a lot of specialization in my vertical. I understand human resource, psychology, people behavior, leadership, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I've been only doing that all my life. And believe me, trust me, there is no one formula. The more I have learned, the more confused I am. And the more confused I am, the more wondering I am that, there is no right formula. That I'll be a great leader. I was a great leader in the next place, but situation changed, dynamic changed, people changed. Now it's a restart. But basic traits, if you understand yourself, will always be there. So maybe some insights I can share in terms of what you can do to be moving away from transactional leadership to strategic leadership. Those are basics that we can work together if we all agree on. But that's purely because it's a journey that it's a lifelong journey, and it's a journey. Believe me, this destination you will never reach, because the destination only keeps getting further. The more you reach, the more you travel. For me, the reason of joining this SLP was that I wanted to understand different domains, different functions. I have great respect for Gautam Saurabh when they say, we come with sales background, their crisis is all about managing the sales team. And likewise, I heard Tajudeen, you, Mustafa. I mean, I've been talking to each one of you. I mean, hearing you, I understand that this verticalization is something which I don't understand. I understand people, behavioral, all that. So I wanted to have a cross-functional learning wherein I understand a bit more about other functions other than pure domain. I mean, I come with the domain expertise of HR. To look beyond domain is what I wanted to understand. And I think if the strategy part starts and the other, so far the journey has been good. My only fight with Cambridge has been that they've not structured it in a way where this 4 months they've done something to fill us up. And that journey, that fight still continues. But having said that, I think it's good to see, like it was very interesting to hear Kamal last week. It's good. I've read the book, but believe me, when he spoke, it was very different. So very rightly, like Igor was saying, that when you read, it's one perspective, but when you hear from people, it just adds on. So yeah, I want to cut across domains and my understanding of business has to be a little more higher, because I feel very limited with my understanding. I'm too verticalized. That's what I believe.
Great. Next Wednesday, we are going to discuss Mr. Kamal webinar, and I think maybe we'll be able to share some more thing. And to be honest, in one session of like 90 minutes, he really changed my perspectives about many things. To be honest,
the guy was brilliant. The guy was brilliant.
The lecture that I heard from him, I really, I enjoyed it and I learned a lot, because there are some, my thinking about many things, he completely changed. And since that Friday, I'm reading a lot on many other things, what he said. So although I have a lot of questions and I really want to meet him and I want to put all those questions, but still this guy, he made something very good. So let's discuss his content on Wednesday. I would welcome everyone to join again. And thank you all for joining us today. It took us almost 2 hours
Mustafa,
today.
just one quick thing. You mentioned about this merger and acquisitions, right?
Yeah.
You can also check with the team if anyone has experience on reading the balance sheets of company. That's yeah. How to read a balance sheet of a company. So, that's actually the most important thing on the mergers and acquisitions are concerned. Actually, I've been part of 2 to 3 mergers, and currently we are going through another acquisition as well. So I have a knowledge. I don't have an expertise. I've been, because of these mergers or acquisitions that we went through, I have a knowledge on the process of how it works, what actually happens, what are the different kinds of mergers and acquisitions that happens. So, but it will be good if we learn it from any expert. If we have anybody in the team who can give us more insights about how mergers and acquisitions happens, and importantly, how to read a balance sheet. When you read a balance sheet, you should be able to understand what that company is doing. In terms of investing perspective, if you want to play around on the stock markets or anything, balance sheet, understanding of a balance sheet plays a very, very vital role.
Very powerful one, Gautam. Good question. Very good question. Because I think that becomes the base for any business if you understand.
Exactly. Even if you want to join a company, you should know how they're performing as a company. Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, especially on a leadership level, if you want to join a company, the first thing you should do is look at their balance sheet. How are they doing? So that's an important thing as a leader we should know.
It's really great, and I think we have Dharinder Tyagi, and he is very much expert in it. So yeah, I will talk to him.
Good
I will ask. This is what I learned actually in this couple of months since we have this one. At least I learn all about all my
Who can
colleagues.
do what?
Yeah, who can do what. So I can catch him. So I will
True.
talk to him and I will ask him that if he can even have one-to-one session with Gautam and Tharinder together and make something what Gautam is missing and one Gautam can add. So it will be a complete package on acquisition, including the balance sheet. So I'll talk to Dharinder, and I'm sure
That'll be
that
lovely.
he will be very much in this. So thank you
Also,
once
Saurabh,
again.
I can add on, I can recommend a very interesting book on leadership. It's something which is very interesting. It's from Ramcharan.
Mhm.
So I'll recommend that book. Very recently I read that. It's a good book on leadership. I'll
Good.
put it on the floor.
Please.
It'll be good.
Yeah, please.
Good.
Thank you, guys. Hope to see you again.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Lovely catching up with all of
Yeah.
you. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.